today we have the honor privilege to have somebody who just got out of the scrub and he showered for us to be with us. Dr. Kelvin Jarvis, welcome to the office.
Thank you, Dr. Bach. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So as you told me, you have resumed work already.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Dr. Bach, I never stopped working. So, we have 3 offices. Me and my wife, we're both dentists. And, we see a good number, we have a good number of clienteles. And it would be impossible to completely stop working. And I know a lot of people shut down their offices, and I don't even know why, if they were just scared or what it was. But tell you the truth, when I was following the news from China, and I was on it pretty much, and I was prepared. I'd purchased already N95s, already purchased it. I had a good amount with me, and I had, we never did non-essential work, but I had, we had a lot of emergencies. Believe it or not, I mean, I worked in each of those offices at least one day a week during the shutdown, because people had emergencies. I had to do root canals, so I had to do extractions. You'd be amazed how many people actually. There were so many patients who couldn't see any other any other doctors because they were all closed. So we would get so many calls. People would just call around to find what offices were open, and I would see, we obviously didn't do anything cosmetic or any type of restorative work that was unessential. But if somebody needed an extraction or they had an abscess, they had whatever we could do to help them get them out of pain. So I worked. We never really shut down.
And how did your staff react to the fact that they were active when most of the population were inactive?
Well, what I believe, Dr. Boxy, this is the way I look at it. We've always been in this business. Our business is I'll just say it, it's a filthy business. We are working with people's mouth, right? And we need to protect ourselves regardless. I mean, maybe this COVID was an eye-opener for a lot of some of the dentists, but because I know people would just have their drink there, they would have a cup of coffee next when they were doing a prep there, or it's common sense. You prepping the stuff, the aerosol comes out, you need to of course we weren't cleaning up as much, or we weren't or having patients rinse their mouth as much, or a lot of those newer protocols that's placed now. We weren't doing all that, but as far as our protection, our self protection, I think we were. I was always, we would always be doing that anyway. So regardless of COVID or no COVID, people have other diseases that are just as infectious. So
thank you, Dr. Because I had a friend of mine, Dr. Erika, who said that before COVID, we were one of the safest places on earth, and suddenly everything changed.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. So in my eyes, nothing really changed. It was an eye opener to people. So we had to be more careful. Obviously, we wouldn't take anybody in who had any symptoms. This is actually, believe it or not, in my opinion, COVID, obviously, it's a sad story because there's a lot of people died here, a lot of people got sick, and a lot of people had to be hospitalized. And but if you look at it, it's actually has brought some really good changes. Doctors, us, if you look at it, so we know about washing hands. We know about the hygiene, but a lot of people didn't care about that hygiene. I mean, believe it or not, every time I'll give you an example, right? Every time I went to a restaurant and, we order food and the waiter would come and, you could see you sitting there, it's a darker room, and there's some highlights, there's lights here and there, but you could see this when these people talk. Some people, when they talk, they actually, they spit a little bit. So, I always wondered, I thought it would be okay, don't be, uh, obsessive compulsive, like, we don't have to be like that, but, but believe it, I think it's a good change. I think every waiter or a chef should wear a mask, because they do talk, they do sweat, so, and that's how the transmission of diseases happens anyway. If you look at it, if you pay attention, in this past 2 or 3 months, there was a lot less, even simple colds or flus or anything else, because people were not, the people were way more careful, and and people who were actually had a cold or they had any symptoms, they would stay home, right? So you're not spreading that. See, that's another good thing that COVID has brought, because now, for sure, I one of the requirements for us at the office is that no matter what it is, it's not a big deal anymore. If a staff has a cold, if a staff has it doesn't feel good, perfect, don't come in. I don't mind, cancel the day, whatever it is. We'll just go along and do what we have to do. But I'm not gonna get sick, or I'm not gonna expose all of my other staff or the patients, just because we want to keep the day going. I actually really like that idea. I think we need to, taking it easy. I really think that our world had gotten to a point where nothing mattered. Like kind of like a dog eat dog. Everybody was after, just like you had to work harder, you had to do more, you have to get a bigger car, you have to get a bigger house. And this thing is kind of, brought the reality of what it's really important.
I love your wording, son. It's no big deal. Take it easy.
Right.
You're unstoppable, Doc. You are unstoppable. But I have to ask you, because right now we kind of face a trend of panic, and people are just putting layers over layers over layers. And many people are saying that the fear will kill more than the virus itself.
Absolutely.
I would like to have your point of view on that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at it, I didn't have any deaths in my immediate family, but I had 2 or 3 occasions where friend of mine where I've seen their families in parties here and there. Friends from dental school where I saw their cousin or their family in the parties, and I got text during this COVID thing that the guy was a young guy. He had a couple very young kid, and he had stroke, or he had a heart attack. So, I honestly, I don't want to get to the medical part of this where, if it was causing some sort of clot or not, but I think the stress factor of it, people lost their job, people lost their work, people lost their, pretty much everything, so that puts so much stress on these people that, whether if they were even, positive with COVID before they go to the hospital, or was it even a COVID related, because a lot of people, younger people, can get it, and you don't show any signs or symptoms. So, I believe that stress, actually caused probably a lot more fatality than the virus itself. I really believe so, because people were in a lot of stress. I mean, I was scared myself. I'm over 50. And I for a minute I thought it was the end of the world. But where you see all these things, and everything's shutting down, and I have 3 offices, and I have so many employees, and so to tell you the truth, like I was worried for a minute, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody knew what was going to happen. How was it going to end up, right? And it was always that unknown factor that what's next, or but to be truthful, the stress definitely had I think big factor in the number of fatality, I think. But as far as what the stress is right now for people, I mean, I see people, when you go out now, people don't even say hi to each other. Pretty much their faces are covered, right? You pass by people, they don't want you to pass by them. You know what I'm saying? So obviously these are all stresses that, you want to go to a market and come back. It's a stressful situation. And you feel like, every time I go out, believe it or not, I feel like I should go take a shower, just clean myself up, change my clothes, and obviously those are all stress, right? I mean, those are things that is added to our already complicated lives.
You said that at the beginning you were panicking yourself, and how did you came out of that? Because you said that you never close, and for a lot of our peers watching us, some of them are resuming business, some of them will have to fear, to face a fear factor of themselves and also the team members. How do you come out of it ahead?
Well, first of all, we have to realize that we are health professionals. You know, the government really never shut us down because we were not essential, but they shut us down because there was not enough personal protection equipment. Right? That's why they shut us down. Because they said, hey, don't work because we don't have enough masks and gloves and gowns. So, if you look at it, we do have a responsibility to come out and help our patients, basically. But as far as getting over my fears, I think, it's just kind of like that fight and flight response that we have. Like we get to that situation where we're scared. If for example, if say if a wild animal was attacking you, right? I mean, you're going to start running away, but at some point you're going to say, stop now. I got to figure out what I'm going to do or how am I going to get, you'll come up with a plan. So that's basically what I did. I read a lot, believe it or not. I mean, we actually, so I write a lot of papers, scientific papers. And if you look up, we have one paper already published that is COVID related. And we're writing another one basically, but it was basically that one paper that published was regarding, how we can protect ourselves in a dental field for the COVID. But again, if common sense, again, so what I think people should look at it is like there's so many different type of infectious diseases that we work, and a lot of times people don't even tell you. I mean, if somebody had tuberculosis, or they were HIV positive and they never told you, right? I mean, if they never put it down. So, or even if there was some that they didn't even know, but they had it, they've been exposed to. So, we need to treat everybody as they have COVID-19. Doesn't matter, we need to protect ourselves, come up with a game plan, how we're going to do this, so basically what we did was we got rid of our waiting room. Basically, patients will wait in the cars. This is from even before they told me. Nobody would come in. All the staff were wearing masks. I had K95s, and you know what? Believe it or not, K95s were available everywhere. They were expensive, but I know I bought some for $7 at some point in March. So they were always available. You could have always gotten it, because believe it or not, it wasn't. I'll tell you the story. So when we heard that the government or the hospitals were in need of K95, this is how I found K95, by the way. I had some connections with my friends, and we do buy stuff from overseas, from different countries, and we figured out a connection that they could give us 1 million K95. And we actually reached out, and I have the paperwork to show you. We reached out to New York governors, and we offered them to sell it to them at cost. But they actually wrote us back that they have other suppliers and they don't need our K95 masks. So, it wasn't like, I am not sure about the politics of it, but I know they were available. You could have bought it, regardless if it's an FDA approved or if it's not FDA approved, because there's some K95s that are for construction. I mean, if you look at it, then if you read about these masks, none of them are 100% anyways. So you are taking a risk, but that's how I looked at it,
I love the way you share this, because now I have to share it. So I was in my province. I'm from Quebec, and I had the deputy health minister contacting me. Said, "You have masks. How many you need? 1 million." And we weren't sure about K95, but I was about to put that together. And he told me, "Oh yeah, but we'll find another way." But we kind of share the same story here. And I think that the hope we bring on the table. Thank you for opening the door. It's even if you haven't put on pause as a dentist, you can still be useful.
Absolutely, 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 exactly. And that's believe it or not, I mean, this is for weeks. This is where we came up with, and then that's how I got my K95s, because it was available to buy. Again, like we try to help. And actually, you know what? I work with a nonprofit organization here in my cities, and there's this hospital that we always do screening for this underprivileged children's. I work. I started working with this. It's a Christian nonprofit organization. It's called Community's Child, and they're one of their biggest um, people who supports them is this hospital. And I know them because I've seen them in the meetings, and I've seen them I'm a board as well. And so the first people I connected with were the hospital, because I was worried about these people. And I say, you know what? I have about 20,000 K95 available. I don't have them, but I have them available, and I can get it for you guys. And believe it or not, they also didn't need it. They didn't want it.
I have to say, thank you, doctor, for being so active or proactive in this crisis. I wish we would have met sooner.
Of course, yeah. It was a pleasure meeting you now, Doc. But there's always other things.
Now it's easy. Things are gone and past. Okay, I have a text to show you. But when we were in the crisis, we had no idea what was what, and we're just trying to be helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I'll just trying to do something for the moment. Do something to help people. And,
we have so much fun in this that I just realized that I never introduced you. So let's go back a little bit.
That's it.
Javid, now that we're friends, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Kayvan Javid. I am originally from Iran. I moved out to the USA when I was about 14 years old. And I came out here with my older brother. Our parents were not here, so we just had to do what we had to do. At that time, it was the revolution in Iran. And, so we want, my parents wanted the best for us. So they sent us out. And basically, we just worked our way up, basically. We did everything. I did everything that needed to be done.
Work your way up. You're a CEO of the Global Implantology Institute. You're the board of BioLease, and on top of that, you have 3 clinics as a CEO. That's a long way up.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is the way I look at it. I always think about what would my children become. And sometimes you think like there has to be some sort of pressure, not from the parents, but pressure from the environment and the kids for them to become something, because that's the drive, that's the motivation. So you see kids who have parents as doctors or surgeons or very well off people, and their kids don't become anything. And you also see their kids who or parents who are just workers, and they make minimum wage, and they become somebody. They go to universities, they become a doctor, or they become a lawyer. So but you also, again, that I'm not saying that's always the case, but I'm saying I also know people who, it was funny because last night my wife was telling me about these people that we know. They is a 2 very successful dentist parents, and their kid GPA was 4.8 something, got accepted to UCLA. And that was just amazing to me, because so I don't know if it's really situation or the environment related. I think what drives people is something personal. It's in the genes. They have to have some sort of drive, or and people are just different. So I can't say that always people who don't have money, they work harder, and people who have money, they don't work as hard. That's not true. I always had that, but since last night, I've completely changed my ideology about that. I think, again, I think it's just the drive comes from, it's a personal thing. It's in the genes. It's in the blood.
You and I come from the fact that we were poor and we built ourselves up, and now we have
Right.
children, and we don't want them to be poor. So what is the wisdom you're sharing here?
But, well, to me, honestly, tell you the truth, for me, it's not about poor or not poor. I want my kids to be who they want to be. I always tell them, I don't care if you want to be a chef. Believe it or not, by the way, my daughter at age of 11, she got into Food Network, and she won one of those competitions, one of those shows. It was Kids Barbecue Championship, and she won. She was the first place. But again, but she doesn't cook anymore. Okay, she's done with that shit. Okay, but at the moment, it was so much work and so much. She would be baking and cooking and all this for a few years. She started when she was 7, but to that point. But to date, if you ask her about ingredients in any food, or how is this done, or how is even, say, filet mignon is different than ribeye, like what a lot of people don't know, or the texture, or they should really tell you how these things are, even though it was all self-taught. She just watched YouTube videos.
We went from the COVID and trying to find PPE for our governments,
right,
to parenting with the same passion. And I think that this is what you have to share, and this is what will drive your children to success.
Thank you.
That's passion.
Yes, absolutely. So I was saying, I tell my kids, I don't care what you become, as long as you're really good at it. You're exceptional at it. I don't care. You can do whatever you want, So that's my belief, believe it or not.
And what was the answer? Too much.
Yeah, they don't know. I didn't know what I want to be either. I think it will come, little by little. I think it will come. It's not a.
Look, you've been through a hard day. I've been through a one too, and we're talking from PPE to parenting, and we're laughing. This is cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to love it. There's obviously challenges. It's ups and downs, and the kids go through. Obviously when they get to that age of they becoming a teenager, so you have a lot of challenges. You have to be patient, and but I'm not the kind that I really care. My wife's really strict on the score and the schooling and that, but I'm not. I believe it or not, I always tell them, like, I don't care.
You're the good cop.
Yeah, I'm a good cop.
So you're in a position of power, being the CEO of the Global Implantology Institute and also on the board of BioLease. And you're in a position to influence many dentists, many peers, and also patients. So how would you advise them moving forward to learn something from this crisis?
Well, there is a lot to be learned from this crisis, believe it or not. I mean, I tell you the example. I give you myself as an example. So I used to work 5-6 days a week, Dr. Bach. I used to work 5-6 days a week, and I used to go to work from 9 o'clock till 6. I would get home at like 7, sometimes 8 o'clock. But after this, again, like I said, a lot of good things came out of this. For me, it was a realization that, no matter how hard you work and how much money you have or whatever it is, it's really not worth it. What you have, your time that you have, the time that you spent. And it's not just about spending time with my kids. I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about spending time with my wife or my family or my kids. I'm talking about myself. That it's not worth it. I go to work 9 o'clock and I don't take a lunch now because I don't need to. And I leave at 3 o'clock. I work straight. So, and I do as much as I used to do. And I've cut down days as well. So again, all of this can be done, First of all, let me tell you the biggest positive here that has brought for us this COVID is that patients now listen to us. As a result of us shutting down or slowing down, I am booked for 3 months. I'm booked. So patients want to see me, I don't have time. So first of all, first thing you're going to get out of this is you're going to have a lot less cancellation. A lot more patients are going to show up because you don't have time. When they call and ask, they want to see you, you're going to say, that's, I always thought about it. When you, a lot of times, there's some doctors, when you would call, and this has happened to me, like when I went to an eye doctor, or, we try to find the best doctor. And when you call, they tell you, oh, you're booked for 2 months, And how does that make you feel, right? That makes you feel like, wow, I'm missing out. I missed out. I should have called earlier, or I should have, but I would definitely keep my appointment, right? I mean, if I'm going to go see that doctor, if it's not an emergency, just an eye exam, right? I'm going to keep my appointment because this guy is a very good doctor. He's booked for months, right? So this is what I see now, believe it or not, that, same thing here for us. I see that, the positive impact of this COVID. Again, let's not look at the negative. Let's look at the positive. The positive was, obviously we talked about that. It was the hygiene, which I think was fantastic. We needed that. We needed some good changes, in restaurant business, in all businesses. People keep things clean in hotel businesses, all of that. You never knew when you went to these rooms that if they were really cleaned up or not. I still don't know if they are, but I'm just saying, I'm sure that they put in more regulations. But the biggest factor for me, for my office, for my work, was that I don't see any cancellation. People show up, people are patient, they know you're busy. They, it is, people listen to what you tell them, take the direction. We give them, so we have a protocol as people come in, they wait in their cars, that they got to go rinse their mouth, and, then everything, keep their mask on, but we're not with them and all that. So, I mean, it's great. I mean, I can see this as a very positive, impact for our profession.
I love your vibe, though, because even through the worst crisis of our existence, you find appreciation. Efficiency, I heard all the time. Yeah, we learn more, we become better, we rethink. But for somebody to come out of this saying that we feel more appreciated by operation, you are first. And I love the vibe.
Thank you.
No arrogance. It's facts. Those are facts. And hopefully we can stay humble through this.
Absolutely.
Repeating ourselves. But yes, this is good.
Absolutely. I like, Doc, I think if you ask me about my personalities or my, I would tell you, the first thing I tell you about myself, I'm very humble. I would never talk good about myself, and that's just me.
You don't have to say it. I can feel it.
Yeah. That's me, Doc.
That's a good vibe. And maybe that's why you booked for 3 months.
Thank you. I'm blessed. Thank you. Thank God, I'm blessed. We're blessed.
I have to tell you, I've done a lot of interviews. I've been with a lot of people. I'm always polite, but I will never say something that I don't believe.
That's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. No, thank you, Doc. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rob.
No, thank you. Thank you for the inspiration.
Absolutely. So, I really think that although, this was a hard lesson for a lot of us going through all of this, and, obviously, some financial hardships, some, obviously, personal, people got, sick or people passed away. This was all negative, and obviously it's not a laughing matter, but when we look at it as a whole, I think we will be better with this at some point. I hope there's a vaccine so we don't have to deal with this. I hate to wear a mask like I was saying, it's horrible because, when like my cousin this weekend invited us for 4th of July here in Laguna Beach, and he was at the park, and he, everybody had a mask on, but honestly, you don't want to hug people. You don't want to, you don't want to be close to people. It's just a natural reaction. That's horrible, right? I mean,
you feel something, you want to give her, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but again, so these things are obviously, hopefully there's a vaccine and everything will go away, but hopefully the lesson we'll learn from this is that, again, we don't need to work so hard. We don't need to kill ourselves, working off, work smart, And always, in my opinion, is you need to use that situation in your advantage, you know. And I think that's our advantage right now. People are more aware of their health. People are more aware of their oral health. You know, people appreciate more that you're working. They know you're risking your, you know, your health and your staff. So, you know, and we discuss that every time people come in. I tell you, I mean, I tell you, in some ways, I really like it. I mean, I get in every time, you know, it's a stressful, let me tell you the truth though. It's a stressful situation. When I go to work, I put on my mask, I put on my gloves, I put on my shield, I put on all the stuff that, you know, that cover my head, you know, and all that. And, you know, I used to like, you know, we all used to, you know, have a coffee, you know, or whatever, get a snack, you know, so nothing happened. I don't do any of that anymore. I work straight, you know, you know, just change the you know, PPE, throw away the old gown or change my mask and whatever it is, but that's it, you know. So we work.
I don't believe you. Because
Well,
something as positive, we'll find a way to crack a joke somewhere. Even through your mask.
I mean,
I had time to think, because you know that if you don't let me go, I want to keep this going because I love the vibe.
thank you, Doc. Thank you. I
But
appreciate it.
usually, I'm asking all my guests, and I'm very careful of my words here,
Sure.
about a message of hope for the future. You're all about hope. So I'm gonna challenge you a little bit and test a new friendship. Since you're that positive and everybody is treating us with a second wave and reconfinement, so I'm gonna come on and ask you, how would you prepare for a second wave? What would you do?
I would do the same, dog. Again, you know, this is our profession. We've always been dealing with infectious diseases, and you know, whether this is a little bit more infectious and we have to be more careful, but this is our lives, you know. We just got to do what we got to do, you know, make the best out of it, you know. And this is it. I mean, again, if we get unlucky and at some point, you know, we say catch the COVID, hopefully we're not gonna die, you know. You know, again, I know a lot of people who got it. I know a lot of families who got it. You know, they had some, you know, fevers and chills and, you know, body aches or different things, but you know, it didn't really kill them. You know, a lot of this was, I think, again, this is where I go back to your first thing when you talk about stress. You know, I think the stress is the biggest killer. You know, when people are financially stressed, when the people are, you know, those things. You know, I remember days where, you know, if you don't have money to pay your rent or you pay for your store, or you know, those things really, you know, they drain your whole energy. You know, they kill you basically. You know, so that's a lot more difficult versus, you know, figuring out how I'm going to go to work, how am I going to make this thing work, you know. So that is less stressful because, you know, like I tell you, like I go to, I think this is where we got cut off. I was telling you, like I go to work and, you know, I just work straight. I don't do anything. I just, you know, so, you know, it's just, you know, I've changed my ways. I don't take a lunch. I don't drink any water. I don't, yeah, I know it's not good for me, but I try to drink water other times, you know. I try to do things other times, you know, but you know, I drink water when I drive home, you know. So, you know, I'm just going to go to work. Some days if I have to, I just come out, take all my, everything out, wash up, and I come out, I have some water, you know, outside, you know. I try to come out, get some air, you know, fresh air once in a while from the office, you know. Luckily we do have access to the outside. So, you know, again, but I would do the same. I would do the same. Right now, we're more prepared. We know
No
much more
regrets.
about no
You're a man of no
regrets, right?
regrets.
We know much more about it, you know. So it's, again, remember, they never shut us down in the USA. They told us not to work, and they said only emergency. Uh, you know, from the first date, you know, they didn't say that we were unessential. We were always essential, but they said we don't have enough personal protection equipment. So, you know, that's why they said not to come out. But you know, you still could have gone and seen all your emergencies. You still could have seen, you know, all those essential patients. So I would do the same, doc. I mean, you know, second, you know, if it is a different strain comes or something comes with a different name, or you know, we are in, you know, this is our life. So, you know,
It's not that I'm wrong, but there's something that you mentioned that I think that we have to remind all our peers, doctors, back at school, there was something called the placebo effect that we
right,
all learn about. And
right,
without saying the words, you keep hammering that in. It's stress and fear will just worsen everything.
Yes.
Let's keep it cool. Let's assume that everybody might be infected, and until now we were very good doing so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so second wave, third wave, let's hope that there's no more wave. But if that comes,
So,
let's keep our dignity.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you asked me the question that, you know, when I had the fear, you know, I thought it was, you know, I was honestly, I thought I was going to die at some point. The way everything was shut down and everything was, you know, and this disease were killing so many people every day, and you know, you're stuck onto the TV and you're just looking at these numbers. You know, I mean, you have to look at it. I mean, if that's fate and that's what's going to happen, if that's the fate, and you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, what are we going to do about it? You know, I mean, we can't be so scared of it. You know, if that's our fate, that's our fate. We just need to be, you know, proactive. We need to, you know, be smart. You know, we can make, you know, foolish decisions. You know, just be ready for it. Just like anything else. You know, you're not going to go, you know, play professional soccer with no cleats. You got to have your shoes on, you know, right? I mean, that's the way it is, right? This is the way I look at it. You can't go and do dentistry if you don't have enough protection. You know, however you're going to do it, however it is, you know, you got to cover yourself, you got to cover your staff, you got to, you know, and also protect the patients in the same way. So, you know, figure it out how you're going to do it. But you're going to see 2 patients a day, whatever it is. When you're going to see 1 patient a day, you know, get back to work, you know, start doing it. And you know, you get comfortable after a while. You know.
So your message of hope is be smart and live without regrets. This is the word.
Just do it. Just do it. Somehow, you know, Dr. Bach, let me tell you, my last thing is somehow, for me, it's always been like this. When you work hard, when you work really hard, no matter what, somehow at the end, it all works out.
I have to thank you for the inspiration you bring to the table. And just going through your tone, we can have the message. Doc, now that we're friends, I usually invite people to join me on a book or so. I have a book that I'm closing today. It's called The Power of Doctor of Dior. And I have to insist, I need your power in. I need a source of inspiration in. And the idea of doing this book is just a way for all dentists, all doctors, to have a way to to empower the personal growth throughout this crisis, and say that I will come back wiser, stronger. But now that you're in, I will come back more positive.